Hello, my name is Stuart, and during the next 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you why you should be driving a car that is paid off, or why once you do pay your car off, you should continue to drive it. I recently had the opportunity to go through Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University class, and I would like to show you why, or tell you why, you can actually have some really good benefits from driving a car that's paid off. First, let's talk about insurance. Most people probably wouldn't think about insurance, but once your car is paid off, you no longer need to have full coverage on the car. That can sometimes be a savings of 70% a month. That's 70% a month that you could be spending on other stuff. Like, let's say, getting more insurance on something that's not yet paid off, like your house, for instance. Or you could just be spending that on whatever you want to, going out to eat more, buying this, buying that, whatever. Well, since that car is paid off, you no longer have a note. So let's see how no car note equals extra cash for you. On average, a car note is about $400 a month. According to Dave Ramsey and other financial institutions, that's actually a little bit low, but we'll stick with $400 a month just for the ease of doing math. Well, $400 a month gives you the opportunity to do a lot of stuff. You could take your spouse on a weekend getaway. You could buy a new piece of furniture, or you could do a couple repairs around the house. With $400 a month, the possibilities of what you could do is almost endless. Well, let's get back to reality a little bit. With that $400 a month, you should probably invest it or put it in savings, because eventually you're going to need to do repairs on the car, get oil changes, buy new tires, stuff like that. So let's say that you put $400 a month into a savings account. After a year, you would have $4,800. Not too bad. Well, let's say you had to do some minor repairs on the car, do some oil changes, stuff like that, and that cost you $1,000 a year. Well, after a year, you would still have $3,800 in the bank. Well, let's say that you enjoy doing this, so you do it for another 5 years. Okay. After 5 years, you would have $19,000 in the bank. Your car is paid off, and you've even spent $1,000 a year to ensure that car keeps running. That seems like pretty good incentive to me to actually keep a car that is paid off. Well, you keep doing it for another 5 years. But let's say you went ahead and bought a new car with some of that money. You went out and bought a good, used, really nice car for $10,000 cash. You kept $9,000 in the bank for emergencies. You drove that car for another 5 years. After 5 years of driving that car, you now have $28,000 in the bank. That's a decent amount of money. You already had $9,000 to start with, and you just added another $19,000 over the years. Well, let's say you're one of those people that just has to buy a new car. You like the reliability of not having to pay for car repairs, just doing oil changes, stuff like that. I got you. Let's take a look at it. Well, you go out and buy a $24,000 car. Let's say you have really good credit, so you get 0% interest. After 5 years, your car is going to be worth about $9,000 because the day you drove it off the dealer's lot, it dropped 25%. That's okay. After 5 years, your car is paid off. You have a $9,000 car that's paid off. But on the other hand, if you would continue to drive that beater car that was paid off, after 5 years, you've got $19,000 cash and a beater car that's worth about $1,000. So, $19,000 cash plus $1,000 car, or just a $9,000 car and no cash. I think it's clear to see which one we should all be doing. It really, really pays off if you continue to drive a car that is paid for. Yes, you're going to have some repairs, you're going to have to spend some money on that kind of stuff, but the benefits in the end are overwhelming. Let's say we continue to do this for the next 40 years. After 40 years, of course, we'd have a good car that we've paid for, but you would also have $82,000 cash in your savings account. Well, after that 40 years, you decide you're tired of putting $400 a month in the bank. You don't want to do it anymore. That's fine. Because now, every 5 years, you can take $10,000 out of the account, go buy yourself a really good, nice used car, and not have to pay for another car or not have to add to that account for the rest of your life and just keep paying for cars off that money. And that's not counting any of the interest that has occurred on the account or anything like that. Well, given these simple facts, I think it's clear to see why wealthy people continue to drive cars that are paid off, because they simply pay for themselves. With that, I'm sure it's clear for you to see why driving cars that are paid off is clearly a good choice. Thank you.